All right, what's going on, everybody? The Phillies take 2 of 3 to lead off the week in Baltimore. How about that? Then, out of nowhere, they cannot beat the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the defense gets worse. Rob Thompson's an idiot. We have so much to talk about tonight, and I'm looking forward to getting this thing started. So let's roll. Bring it. All right, welcome, Ring the Bell podcast. I'm Christy Francesco, Jason, Ken, and Dean Holzapfel are here with us. Now, let me just firstly just say in advance, I apologize if the stream doesn't look so great. I am on vacation. I am on location, and we had a huge storm last night that basically knocked out our Wi-Fi for a little bit. So far, so good. I'm literally doing this right next to the Wi-Fi router. So let's hope this is good. What's going on, guys? Jason, Dean, how you guys doing?
Doing well, sir.
I'd be better off if this team didn't drop 2 or 3 to one of the worst teams in baseball.
I know. We have.
Can I preface something real fast?
Because
I got cut off last week when we did our predictions. This team went 3-3, which is what I was going to predict them to do. But I was thinking the series were going to be switched. Didn't expect them to drop 2 or 3 to the lowly Pittsburgh Pirates.
It's like how this team goes, right, Jay?
Or take 2 or 3 from the league leading Orioles.
That's what I mean. This is a team, and this happens almost every year with the Phillies. They'll take 2 of 3 or sweep like an Orioles or Rays with how good they are. But then you go up against like back in the day, the Marlins, or even now the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they'll lose 2 out of 3, and they'll look terrible doing it. It's It's just unreal how these things work. But like we said, the beginning part of this week was tremendous. It was like fun baseball to watch, taking 2 of 3 against the Baltimore Orioles, who are one of the best teams in Major League Baseball. Jay, I'll start with you. Man, your opening thoughts on this week, starting with that Baltimore series.
It's typical Phillies, right? We said this right before the All-Star break. I felt like they had that role. They get you maybe believing, especially when they take a team out like Baltimore, who, even though they're super young, like you said, is one of the best teams in the league right now. And then you come in, you're like, okay, it's Pittsburgh. We're probably going to go 4-2 this week. Pretty excited. And then you to lose the last 2 games the way you did was just not good baseball, and it's not looking good. And then the only watching today, Sanchez pitching another gem of a game.
We're gonna get into that. It's gonna be fun.
We can't come on, this dude. When you look at his last 5 starts, he's 0-1 with like a 2.25 ERA. It's just very Phillies the way this week went, and it just feels like that has been all season. And I do have some numbers we're going to get into a little bit later, because I did a little bit of research where everybody was going early. Those early games don't matter, guys. Every one of these games matter at this point. We've been one of the best teams in baseball since June is the stat, and we're still not even a wild card team. And that tells you what we need to know about this team.
Exactly. Right, and that is where this is my issue when I hear pundits and media, or even a lot of fans do this, where, let's stop talking about how important April and May games are, because they're not. You're a half game. You're the best team since the beginning of June, second best team in baseball since the beginning of June, and you're a half game out of the third and final wild card.
Was it 31-17? I think was the stat.
Right.
Like,
and you're still not a playoff team right now. So if you have a losing month in April or a losing month in May, these games, they creep up to you when you get to August and September. Look, it's not the NFL, of course, where there's 18 games and literally every single game means something. But in baseball, when you have bad starts, you're playing catch up the rest of the summer because that's just the way it is. And when you're in a division like how good the Braves are and how good the Marlins have been, and then you got the rest of the wild card, you got San Francisco, who's they're 58, they're 10 games over 500. Then you got Milwaukee, they've lost 3 games in a row right now. They're 4-6 in the last 10. The Phillies are also 4-6, and they've lost 2 in a row. If the Phillies did their job and took 2 of 3 or even swept the Pirates, we're talking about a team right now that is probably nearly tied for the number 1 wild card spot.
And
now
Chris,
half game out.
My point even more to dive in further. So the 3 teams ahead of us right now in the wild card: Miami, Milwaukee, San Fran.
Yeah.
San Fran this season we're 0-3 against with 3 games left. So we have to sweep them to, hopefully hold any sort of tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, we're 1-2 against, which I think, if I remember correctly, we did blow one of those games with 3 games left. Miami, we're 2-4 with 7 left and 4 coming up this week. So those early games, these tiebreakers, once you start getting into it and everything's so close, when you go to the next 3 below them, like the teams that still have a shot, we're 5-1 against the Cubs, 3-1 against the Padres, but we're 2-4 against the Mets. So like a lot of these teams losing those early series, now it's going to come back big, especially like you said, a team like Pittsburgh, you need to handle your business. And it feels like every other week we're doing this. Phillies are beating a good team and then losing 2 or 3 to a team they shouldn't be doing. And it's so frustrating.
Yep.
And and then you're going now you're heading to Florida and you have the Marlins for 3 games. So like how's that?
The Marlins for 4.
I'm sorry, 4,
for 4. You're right. I'm sorry, for 4 games. It starts tomorrow. Now, geez, what we all know the history against the Marlins. You're half game out of the playoff spot right now. This is a massive 4-game set here for the Phillies. I mean, this is huge.
I was thinking that earlier, Chris. Like this, I don't want to use the term make or break for the season,
right?
But you could easily leave this series 3.5 games out.
Absolutely.
And you could never recover that. Once we get to the 3rd week of August, we have a pretty tough schedule until we get to the Mets at the end of September.
Right.
And the Pirates again. So like this is a big series because we have 2 weeks of like pretty winnable baseball, well, winnable to a good, like a consistent team.
Yeah.
But this is a big series. And we don't play the Marlins good at all, ever.
No.
We could win 102 games in a season and they could win 50 and they're going to still have a winning record against us in the season.
I agree. And so I kind of want to get started here with one of the 2 things that I hate a lot about Rob Thomson. I'm going to save what happened today right after this. And this is something that I've been thinking about, and then it happened again today. It is absolutely mind-boggling to me that Rob Thomson continues to take Bryson Stott out of the lineup against left-handed pitchers. He is the Phillies' best hitter. He's 4th in the National League in batting average. He's 5th in the National League in hits. He's hitting .310 against left-handed pitchers. Today was the 13th time that Bryson Stott hasn't been in the lineup. That's more than 12% of the time. Jay, I'm going to start with you. Why is Bryson Stott not like a 162-game player right now? Why?
I don't know. Yeah, like you said, he's batting .310. He's got 100 at bats. Batting I don't know. I feel like last year he always wanted to play matchups. I think Topper tries to outthink himself, and I just don't know. There's no reason he shouldn't be playing every day. This guy needs to be in every day against lefty. There's really no describing it. There's no reason. You've never really seen anything like it. You have to play your best players. He's your best hitter right now. He shouldn't be set any day. I don't care who's pitching. He needs to be your guy in the lineup every day. It's just, what else can we really say about Topper making lineups this year?
It's really bad. I mean, if you're going to continuously throw out Turner and Castellanos there, how can you justify not playing your best player? Like, I don't understand how you're trying to. Let's see, this was the rubber match, and you lost 2 out of 3 against Pittsburgh. How on a Sunday when you're trying to win a series, you decide that, you know what? I think today's the day that I'm going to take out our best player of our lineup right now, our best hitter. I don't understand the thinking. I don't understand why he believes he has to play guys like Josh Harrison. Like, if you're going to bench anyone, you know, you got to take out Castellanos, so you have to take out Trea Turner, because those two suck ass. I mean, they are bad. And we're going to talk about that even more. And not only are they now so bad offensively, Nick Castellanos on Saturday literally had 2 of the worst defensive efforts I've seen in base and right field in a long time. And then, you know, Turner today couldn't call off his third baseman to make a catch in the infield. And this is my issue with Rob Thomson. And again, I know it sounds weird on the surface when, again, they are the second best team in baseball since June 2nd. A lot of times players can win despite their manager. That's just the way sports can be. I don't think he's a good baseball manager. I think he's a good players manager. Okay. There's a difference between that. And the reason why I'm not a big fan of player managers, because then that's why guys like Josh Harrison gets more starts than he ever should. Because he's like loyal to the players to a fault. Charlie Manuel was like that for a little bit, but it was different because Manuel had, you know, legitimate stars that were producing, or he just didn't have an appropriate backup for those guys. But Thomson, to me, got lucky last year. Again, this isn't a team that went to the World Series that won 93 games in the regular season. This is a team that literally 87. Like, on a normal year, you're a third place team with 87 wins.
Not in the playoffs, typically.
Right. And I think Jay said it. He tries to outsmart everybody, and I just don't think he's a smart manager. He lost the Phillies Sunday, hands down. Sunday's game, he lost the Phillies. He didn't start Bryson Stott, and then he took Christopher Sanchez out of a game that he didn't have any walks and had a no-hitter through 5 innings. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. So this is becoming more and more obvious to me. And there are people that will defend Topper because, and Dean said this before too, just because he went to the World Series last year, he can do no wrong almost. And that's just not how it goes. And I'm getting really sick and tired of watching this dude manage a baseball game because it's costing his team wins. How much longer is Nick Castellanos going to bat in the 2-hole? How much longer is this going to last?
He's got a 194 OBP in the last 30 days.
It's pathetic how bad our 1 and 2 hitters are, and nothing changes. Like, everybody who has been listening to us for a while knows that I was defending Kyle Schwarber against these 2 rascallions right here, and but like, this guy needs to get out of the leadoff spot. I don't care. This guy he could hit 100 home runs.
Yeah,
I don't care. I'm tired of seeing a 181 batting average as my leadoff guy.
I think he had 3 strikeouts today, right?
At least 3.
He always feels like every game he has 3 strikeouts.
Just chalk it up. He'll have 3 strikeouts, but he'll get that leadoff home run. That's all.
Get to the
Schwarberfest, Schwarbomb. That's all the fans care about.
But
you get an overpriced crap hoagie from Wawa.
And Chris, it's time for us to admit that I think we're wrong on Nick. I really feel like
it's
time for that one.
It
looked great up until like May 31st.
Yeah,
that dude got so many player of the weeks from us.
I know.
And now I want him DFA'd. Like, just get him off this damn team. I can't believe the snake oil salesman that guy is.
Man.
I'll tell you what, and I'm going to say this, and I'm sure you guys have noticed it. I mean, he has 100% reverted back to last year's Nick Castellanos.
Oh yeah.
He swings at absolutely everything. Everything.
Topper said, was it last night or today? I can't remember. He said that he doesn't think Nick is a guy who reaches for the ball. Like, that's all he does is reach for the ball, dude. He don't let the ball come to him at all.
Yeah.
He is stepping over the plate to try to hit what could probably be a pitch out.
Yeah.
You know, he's not Todd Zeal. You know what I mean? Like he's
Todd
not hitting that
Zeal.
You're welcome, everybody. You know, hitting that ball that they try to pitch him out. It's ridiculous. And I'm pretty if this team doesn't make the playoffs, they need to blow this team up for the most part.
I mean, you're gonna have to do something. I mean, look, the trade deadline is what
Topper
tomorrow,
gets fired.
Oh, for sure.
100. Like that's the move. Like
if they,
I don't think
miss the playoffs, you can't bring
Topper's
them back
gone.
next year.
100%.
Yeah, there's just no way.
Listen, like I told you guys, I'd be lining up Schwarber for Bellinger and like a ton of cash and be like, here, just take this dude. We will like buy Cody Bellinger off of you. Like, do you watch international football? We'll give you $100 million to rent him for the rest of the season. Like,
yeah,
because
Cody Bellinger
he had 3 bad years with the Dodgers. I did not think he was going to rebound to like MVP levels.
Yeah,
somebody saw it coming.
Yeah, it wasn't you. Let's be honest.
I'm just saying, like I was a name I threw out free agency. Nobody, you guys told me how terrible he was.
So the last month is 22 games that Nick Castellanos has played. He's got 33 strikeouts. He's hitting 130 with a whopping 170 on base percentage. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that man, he's your 2-hole hitter every day. So that's absolutely tremendous.
I never thought I'd say this about Schwarber, but Schwarber at least can get on base a little bit.
He can. He walks.
Yeah. Castellanos
he had 3 walks, I think, on Saturday.
Sometimes he touches the base 4 times at a bat, but that's all he can do is walk and hit home runs.
But so in the last 24 games, on base percentage, Schwarber 307, Nick Castellanos 194. Like this dude, I feel duped because he was a guy, and I thought he was going to be a guy.
Yeah. Well, look,
he's actually Jake Arrieta of hitters.
Man,
he's actually performed. He actually performed better from a split standpoint. If you look at Castellanos, he actually performed better last year during these months than he is this season. Like last July, he hit 282. Last August, he hit 300. But then September, October, he hit 222. I would beg for him to hit 222 in a month right now. Like I would beg for that.
His average has dropped, I think, a total of like
35 points.
It's 35. I thought it was
in like the last 2-3 weeks, it's 35 points.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like tanking bad.
Yeah.
He was over 300 going into the All-Star break.
I know. You just continuously. I keep seeing it drop by 10.
Yeah.
Like I just keep seeing it.
Terrible. It's so bad.
And then you look at Turner again. Like, look, Topper is about a month late on doing anything productive. You know, it was on Saturday that they finally moved Turner to the 7-hole, and
we dropped him for the first game of the series. Did he not?
No,
it was the last game of the Orioles series. He didn't start. Sosa did, and then opposite field home run. Yeah,
right. But then he finally, in terms of the batting order, he dropped him. And, you know, in the last 28 days, again, last 21 games, he's hitting 205. And he's just moving down the lineup. He hit 5th again today. He didn't do anything. And then he had another error again today on Sunday, which was so brutal. Dude, you're the shortstop on an infield pop-up that was hit towards the shortstop. You tell Sosa to get the hell away from you. And there's just no excuse for the defensive issues that this guy is making. Again, Jay, what do they do with Trea Turner? Like, I don't know anymore what the answer is, because you can't really bench the guy because you don't really have a viable replacement for him. I mean, that's
unless you want to start Sosa, unless you just want to make a statement for the rest of the season and start Sosa. The one move.
Well, then you're mailing in the season, right? I guess. If you make that statement,
or you know, because you can bench him a few games here and there, but I don't really, you know, I don't know if that's going to do anything. Like you really want to make a statement. I saw the little trade suggestion. about saying because San Diego really wanted Turner,
Mm-hmm.
package him and maybe a few players for Soto.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. But if
Yeah,
I don't, that's not going to happen. It's not realistic. But there's really not much you can do. You're paying him $300 million, for the next 10 years. So you got to just hopefully he figures it out. Outside of that, there's really not much you can do. You can't bench him. You can't bench him. There's no way you can bench him. So
Yeah,
you just kind of got to suck it up and hope he figures it out.
yeah. So let's move to the next problem that I had with Sanchez. I'm sorry, I don't have any issues with him. With Rob Thomson, Christopher Sanchez, man, on Sunday was dealing. I mean, he was pulled after 5 hitless, scoreless innings on just 73 pitches. He gets removed, and Sir Anthony Dominguez, who now is a batting practice reliever, gives up a single and a 2-run homer to the first 2 batters he faces, and then just all of a sudden the game is tied. And it's like if whoever was listening to the game, you could almost hear the distress of Ruben Amaro Jr. and Tom McCarthy saying, "I don't understand what's going on here." And then it's like you could hear them building up like they knew the Pirates were about to do something here. Because if you're the other team, and anybody who's played baseball or have watched baseball for a long time understands this, when you have a pitcher who's dealing, and then all of a sudden you see them getting pulled earlier than you would expect, you're like, oh, you start to go, all right, cool. We got something new now. Let's go attack because we couldn't touch this guy, but let's go in there with a whole new momentum. Like, why are they pulling this dude? And that's exactly what happened today. And that decision that Thomson made, which was dumb, like a low IQ manager move. There was some bullshit after the game where Sanchez said he was dealing with a stomach bug. Well, he looked damn good through 5 innings. That's a shame that he couldn't go one
dismissive
more.
wanking gesture.
So it's you know what it really was? It was analytic bullshit to me. You know why? Because it was going to be Sanchez's 3rd time around the lineup for the Pirates, and that is where you lose me completely. Because you know what that tells me? You have a brainless manager who cannot have an eye test. You know
I'm
why?
going to disagree with you there, though, Chris.
He's a Girardi guy, dude. He doesn't know how to handle
his last start. He went 7 and had 92 pitches. So I don't know. So he's shown, and that was against Baltimore. So I can't believe he pulled him for a 3rd time around the lineup when he went 7 and dominated, pitched really well against Baltimore. It doesn't make sense that you're going to pull him out at 73 if there isn't. To me, I'd like to think not. The way he pitched last game and they let him go. He just had his best outing of the season, longest outing of the season. So he's learned. He's showing he was able to stretch himself out over the season. Well, I find it tough to say.
Go ahead, Dean.
No, I don't buy that at all. We see too many managers in the league do that nowadays anyway. I mean, when you were just talking, Chris, it reminded me of what Kevin Cash did with the Rays against the Dodgers in the World Series back in 2020, where Blake Snow was dealing. They pulled him and they lost the game.
Gem. Yeah.
Yeah, and they lost the game and ended up losing. They pretty much gave the advantage back to the Dodgers and they won the World Series, thank God. But
Thomson said after the game, Jay, that he was thinking that he was going to remove Sanchez even if he was feeling okay because it was the top of the order for the 3rd time in a row.
Stupid, man. I can't stand. Like, I understand analytics. Analytics has a purpose in today's game, but you got to have that gut feeling too, where you're like, let me see what he does. Like maybe after one batter.
Watch him like you're watching. Like what was it a few years back when Nola was dealing against Atlanta opening day and they pulled him and they blew it up. Like you just sometimes you have to know with your pitcher and when he's looking good. Sanchez was looking great. You know. There's because to me, and I equate it sounds stupid, but I do equate it to video games. I've been playing the show and I'm dealing with a dude. As soon as I bring that bullpen dude in, I don't know. And I know it has no, it doesn't.
That sounds like user error.
the other dude. And then the same thing when I'm playing to do when you bring somebody else in, I feel more confident. The other guy's dealing. We weren't hitting them. They didn't hit him at all. So they had no hits. So, and it just, boosters the opponent. They know they're not touching the other dude. Let's get some magic.
Yeah.
I just hate the idea. If that's it, it's really analytics has really kind of ruined pitching.
To me, this
even
team seems.
Amaro
Go
even
ahead.
said it. I'm sorry. Even Amaro said it. He goes, "Well, Tom, this is a new era of baseball. It cannot be
It is.
explained how they handle pitching staffs. Like, so we saw that again today. Look, if he was really that sick, and then Sanchez said after the game that he told Topper that I'm fine. I'll go out for another inning. Like that would have made such a massive difference. Based on what he was doing. Look, he did hit 2 or 3 guys. He had a couple walks, but again, he still only had 73 pitches, and he could have pitched another
2 innings.
I mean, he had another at least 12 to 15 pitches left. That's another inning, possibly inning and a half, right? So I mean, that's a big deal.
But it's also more concerning too, though, how bad this bullpen has gotten. And the guys that you expected to deliver for you, like Sir Anthony, not delivering this year. Yeah. I think that's the much bigger concern, because these are guys we thought in the beginning of the season were going to be, if we could get 5 or 6 innings, we had a lockdown through the 9th. And that's how I think that's the bigger issue at this point.
Yep. Well, like we said, that decision really killed the rest of the game. Dominguez comes up, he gives up the lead in the 6th. Jeff Hoffman comes in. Gregory Soto had the 7th, which meant Marte was the best option left for the 8th, because Matt Strahm, he pitched 2 innings Saturday night, and Kimbrel was obviously being saved for the 9th inning. Look, since coming from AAA, Sanchez has had the lowest WHIP in baseball, a .84. A 2.3 ERA in those 8 starts. 36 strikeouts, only 6 walks in 46 innings. If the dude tells you he can go one more inning, just give him one more inning. I don't understand why you have to overthink this. This is a
what's
game
the worst going to happen is he gives up the runs that.
What's the worst? Like he goes in the next inning and shits himself, and you got to take him out with 2 outs. Just deal with it. It is what it is right now. And I had, after the game, Harper and Turner, they finally expressed some frustration. The Phillies should have at least won the series. They should have swept this series. They were on the board first Sunday with a 2-run home run from Bomer. Harper puts them ahead again with an RBI single in the 7th. Bohm followed up with his own again. 7 of the last 8 runs that Harper has driven in have either tied the game or given the Phillies the lead. And again, it was all for nothing. And Harper said, and I'll quote after the game, big opportunity to come in here at Pittsburgh, pronouns, pal, and do some work. And we weren't able to do that. When talent doesn't play well or play smart, you get beat. You've got to do the little things right, playing defense, hitting timely. It doesn't matter who you're playing. It's still the big leagues, and any given team can win a game. You saw that this weekend. I like that quote because, one, that's the first time we've seen any kind of emotion or fire out of Bryce Harper for 2-3 months. And that's kind of a shot at his defense. Harper's not really making errors. I mean, the guy literally took the first base like he's, Freddie Freeman over there. He's been really good, but he's watching from either the dugout or even at first base. This defense is costing them games.
It's kind of like what was that year a couple years ago? Our defense was just like horrendous. Was it 2020 or was it 21?
It could have been 21. They were really bad in 20.
Yeah, they were like awful. Like Didi Gregorius forgot how to play shortstop and stuff like that.
Bad, yeah.
Yeah, So I think it was 2021, and it feels like I don't feel like they're that bad, but they're like close to being that bad because that was bad that year. But I feel like they're close to being this bad.
Yeah, Jay, I'm going to ask you, again, are you seeing? What are you seeing in terms of this defense? Because I don't think it's shockingly going to improve over the next month, but it just feels like it's lazy. Like the 2 plays that Nick botched on Saturday that cost Nola and the Phillies the game. And yeah, I'll defend Nola. Nola, out of that 7, Nola to me was only responsible for maybe 3. That's where I am there. Marsh completely botches a ball in center field. And Castellanos botches, 2 back-to-back fly balls in right field. I don't know what else to say about it. And again, this all comes off like we're bitter about a team that is statistically maybe the second or third best team in the National League right now. But again, it's not, you don't see it when you're watching them play. That's that's my problem with this.
I don't. Again, I didn't expect them to be great defensively when you have, up until Bryce was able to move to first, Schwarber and Casty playing. Casty, he's tried to play defense. It seems like a lot of different positions and just hasn't been able to fit in anywhere. And then it makes it look even. You wonder if there's something wrong mentally with him now too. With because I didn't expect him to be this bad, and now the bat is looking terrible. You wonder if there's maybe a bigger issue going on there. But
I mean, Jay, his kids are probably hungry since he's not hitting the ball. So he's probably worried about them.
And then I think even early on, when we were talking about which shortstop to sign, I think we all kind of were in agreement that probably Turner was the least capable defensively.
Yeah.
And then you were hoping Marsh was going to be the guy, and he really wasn't. Bohm's improved, but it's just those things. I didn't expect him to be great, but you don't expect him to play this bad. And they're big leaguers. They shouldn't be making some of these errors. And the biggest concern,
and that's what it comes down to,
is Marsh's defense getting worse. Is I think the biggest concern out of really everything at this point, because we all expected him to be kind of a Gold Glove caliber center fielder for us.
Agreed. Yeah. It was crazy if you look at going into Sunday. Trea Turner was hitless in 3 consecutive games entering Sunday. Right now he's still at his lowest batting average of in nearly 2 months. At 242. He's not going to reclaim that number 2 spot until he shows improvement at the plate, and that was according to Thomson. And you look at Nick Castellanos, man, he is 10 for 85 over his last 21 games, with 2 extra base hits, only 2 walks in 33 Ks, like we said. He's just been awful. And you look at Saturday, he had that 6th inning strikeout with the bases loaded, which was ugly. I mean, he went down 0-2 in the count and swung at a slider that was almost like literally in the Pittsburgh dugout. Like, that's how outside it was. And it's the same way that teams attacked him in 2022, because and Dean said it every day last season, he could not lay off a low and away breaking ball. He'd get himself out. He was once he went down like 0-1 in a count, he's an automatic out, because he's now he's just going to swing at anything that he sees. And that's what's been going on. He can't hit, and I don't know what's going on. And at least Sunday, Turner had 5 at-bats and got 1 hit, but he still struck out twice. He's still hitting 242. Jay and Dean, are these going to be like 2 of the worst signings that we've ever seen?
Yes. I can't even put Schwarber in that. Well, I can't put Schwarber in that when you should, but he actually does contribute to the team.
And Schwarber's contract, Jay and I talked about this last week, I think off air. If he left the Phillies today, he would go somewhere and he'd make the same amount of money.
He would.
Yeah. But Castellanos and Turner have contributed little to nothing to this team. Turner's a decent defensive shortstop, but of course he comes to the Phillies and forgets his entire position. It's just, you might as well just put it. Don't even give him a glove. Just try to have him field it barehanded at this point.
Yeah.
Castellanos is not a very good right fielder, so they're just bad. I think more or less they're like the flashy signing, because they know people go buy their jerseys. People come to the park to see him, but they're not going to do anything. It's crazy to say that about Trea Turner, who has been one of the best offensive shortstops in his entire career.
Oh yeah, the last 5-6 years. Yeah,
much like Castellanos came here last year and was just like, I don't remember really how to hit the baseball. So it's just wild to see that these guys who were like pure hitters come here and just go, yeah, I suck. I mean, you spend all this money, you could have just kept Gene Segura and then threw $100 million at Verlander.
Who also might be getting traded. It's just wild what's going on in baseball right now.
But I mean, I'm not wrong.
No,
I do think the Turner one's the big one. That one may look like a huge mistake if he doesn't turn around. But like Dean said, I think we all thought Turner. I think we all wanted Turner because he was the best offensive one out of them all.
Right.
And he could pretty much count on him to hit 290 to 300, hit his 20 home runs, steal his 20 bases, and he's just not. I think he's stealing the bases, but his power seems a little bit down. He's just not, and he's not hitting like that. That you expected him to hit 290, 300, which is something this team really needed at the top of that lineup.
Yeah,
with
he's got
Bryce
21 stolen bases.
He does. I was going to say, the steals are still. I think he's 20. I don't think he's been thrown up like twice. But you knew Bryce was going to hit in that 3-hole. 0.
He hasn't been caught once. Yeah.
So you wanted a guy that, because we knew Schwarber was pretty much going to stay in that 1 hole. If you could get Turner going, he's a guy that easily would have, score 100 runs in this lineup. So it's very concerning, and I think that could turn into, if he keeps this up, it even may be a worse contract than Arrieta if he stays this bad.
So, like, to kind of put things a little bit in perspective, for a lot of people saying, "Oh, the Phillies made a mistake of signing Turner." If they would have signed any of the other guys, it might have been just as bad. We sent this out to you guys a couple days ago. Trea Turner, Xander Bogaerts, Carlos Correa, Dansby Swanson, and Francisco Lindor signed $1.3 billion worth of contracts, and they're hitting a combined 246 this season. That's about the same offensive production as this year's 37-year-old Carlos Santana. So it is not a very good year for big name shortstops.
What's kind of crazy about Turner is just looking at his stats and have to brush up on it. Like, a lot of his stats are in line with like his career stats. You know what I mean? Like, his power is still relatively the same. His RBIs are on average still there. Hits and doubles and stuff like that. That's all still there. Strikeouts, walks, but it's like his batting average is down. His slugging,
on base percentage is bad.
His OPS is down. It's that stuff that like really is kind of like that's the stuff.
And
that
his strikeouts are
like,
way up.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's going to strike out the most in a season this year.
Yeah, but that's the stuff that wins like you the MVP. Like, that's how Bryce won the MVP a few years ago. It wasn't his home runs and his average and stuff like that. It was the other stats were so ridiculously high.
Right.
And that's what's, I think, really hurting him because he's just not making good contact. I think he's trying too hard. And I guess the only thing we can hope for is his next year he figures it out, because I don't think he's going to do it this year.
No, and it's crazy.
And he's going to be here at least next year. Before they really go.
He'll be here for a while.
Hey, you want to go somewhere else?
This will be his lowest average since his rookie season and his lowest on base percentage of his career. So and I know I've said it a million times.
Crazy.
I really bought into the Trea Turner's not that guy that once he gets the contract is going to fall off.
I did
but
too.
It really seems like he got that contract and called it a day.
He did.
It really starts to feel like it. It's tough.
Yeah. And look, Harper again had a really good day at the plate. 3 walks on Sunday, a big RBI single. He's still hitting over 290. His OPS is touching 800. His on base percentage is like almost 390. But again, there's just no power. Like, this dude might end the season with 10 home runs in a season.
That's it's just wild.
It's just ridiculous to me right now. Maybe he turns it up if they make the playoffs, which would be wonderful. Great. But he's not the only one that can do this. And I want to kind of bring up something because I spoke to a source of mine last night while watching the game who covers the Phillies.
Philadelphia Phillies spy, Chris.
And he covers the Phillies, and I was asking him, like, hey man, have you noticed like the ridiculously awful body language of Bryce Harper over the last couple months? And he instantly replied, said, yes, he's miserable. And I'm like, why? His team is in a playoff chase. He's actually playing baseball when a lot of people thought he wasn't going to play until July. Mm-hmm. Other than his home runs being way down, he is, everything else is doing great. I mean, like really well. And then he just said that he's just acting kind of like a prima donna right now. And
Well, here we go.
and
My tweet was right.
and he was telling me how look, he's not looked at in the locker room as a leader whatsoever. That's not a bad thing. It's more like how Utley wasn't looked at as a leader, or
Those are clown statements, bro.
like that's the thing. Well, one, the context of that question, he should have said that's a clown question. So that's basically what I was told was that Schwarber and Hoskins are locker room leaders that are looked up to a lot, and Harper's just more or less just a guy, which is weird to me, but it does make sense. Harper's kind of always been like that lone wolf since he was drafted. But still, to me, I'm still trying to figure out. One, I'm happy that I tried telling you all for a while that he looks absolutely miserable. You can tell just by the dude doesn't smile. He doesn't seem pumped up for anything. That's not normal Bryce Harper behavior. And I'm glad that someone who sees him every day is telling me, yeah, he's miserable. And I still don't have, maybe because he feels like he bent over the entire city getting Trea Turner here. Maybe that's something I'd, feel bad about, because the fact that we're getting absolutely barebacked by Trea Turner is driving all of us bonkers right now. I mean, I picked the SOB to win the MVP. Well, it looks like I needed colonoscopy, but like I don't understand why he's miserable. I mean, maybe because he's not happy enough with the numbers he's producing. Maybe he feels the team is completely underperforming, which they are. Jay, do you have any qualms with Bryce Harper?
I just got to throw this out there first. I think I Need a Colonoscopy is going to be our first merch shirt. So just everybody keep a lookout in the merch. That's going to be the first shirt.
Yeah. Good stuff.
No, because the guys he brought here, and it does stink this year where he's down. He seems like, especially after last year and his run, how vital he seemed and how upbeat and how jovial and how it just felt like it fed the whole team. It stinks because it did feel like he was the energy of that team, even from the outside. I feel like even his play. Mm-hmm. So when he just when he seems disinterested in his at bats, it really feels like he's just the energy, because I do feel like he is the energy of that team, though. As much as he may not be a locker room presence, they feed off of his energy when he plays the game.
Exactly.
So
and we're not seeing that.
It's very, maybe you were right earlier when you said him not playing, out in right field is hurting him in the plate, because he just doesn't have that same energy. And that is something I feel like last year a lot of this team fed off, especially during that great September run in the run through the World Series. Mm-hmm. They fed off of that a tremendous amount. So we need to see that Bryce Harper back if this team wants to make a big run, I think.
I agree. All right, guys, just let you all know that this episode and everything that we do is brought to you guys by our good friends over at Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com right now and use our code baseball20 for 20% off your order plus free shipping. Again, I just want to let everybody know, man, I received a package a couple days ago before my vacation from Manscaped. Thank you guys so much. They sent me a great 6-pack of anti-chafing boxers. That's literally all I want to wear. They are, if I can defend anything here, if I can really promote anything that Manscaped does great, it's the anti-chafing men's boxers. They are so light. They're so comfortable. And they really, really do help, especially when you're in the summer. When you're a dude, look, we have like a 0.5% female audience. So if I'm going to talk about balls, I apologize to the 3 women that listen to this show. Look, in the summer, it can be an awful time for dudes that walk around all day. So, getting these boxers, I'm telling you guys right now, it's like the ultimate flex, man, for the package and the ween. So please, they're super comfortable. I fully recommend all that stuff. And also, shifting gear there, if you're a fantasy football fanatic, guys, it's July. Training camp has started. The draft season approaches. Don't neglect the most important draft pick of them all, and that's your game balls. We all know how injuries can ruin a season, so let Manscaped take care of that Reggie Bush of yours with their skin-safe technology. This should guarantee you have a smooth ride into the playoffs. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have created a championship lineup with their Performance Package 4.0, and it's time for you to do the same. So get 20% off and free shipping with our code baseball20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code baseball20 at manscaped.com. It's time to put the PP back in PPR and get a grip on your pigskin this season with Manscaped. All right, we're back. Also, head over to SeatGeek.com right now and use our code ONTHEBUMP for $20 off your very first ticket purchase. Again, I had a couple of those this week. It seems like a lot of people are using our code. I think since we've gone this YouTube, SeatGeek has reached out to me and told me how happy they are with our partnership. Also want to thank Manscaped. We just signed, a really cool long-term relationship, a long-term agreement with Manscaped for Ring the Bell. So that's super cool. We have some more things coming down the pike as well from Manscaped with Ring the Bell. Maybe some merch. Just letting you guys know. A nice little collab there. It fits. Ring the Bell, baseball podcast, Manscaped takes care of men's balls. It's a match made in heaven, right? All right, so let's kind of finish things.
Question for you, Chris.
Yeah, fire away.
Jog my memory for a second. What the hell is on the bump?
According to Dean, it's going to be making a comeback, and I'm like, nah, it's not. Don't worry.
I'm going to hold it out until you prove me wrong.
Oh, that's really good. All right, so as we approach a new week here, as we round out the end of the show, boys, 4-game set against the Marlins here. What are you guys thinking? You got the Marlins here, and then we go right into a weekend series against the Kansas City Royals at home. I mean, we're going into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a 10-game homestand coming up after Florida, KC, the Nationals, then the Twins. If you really want to make up some ground, Jay, this is the next 2 weeks to do it. This is it right here.
When you're looking at a lot of the schedule, a lot of it upcoming is going to be some of these, the teams we're in battling with and then terrible teams. So it's not like we're getting those heavy hitters. So you're right. We have to, especially being, like I said earlier, we're 2-4 against Miami right now.
Yeah.
I think they're a half a game ahead of us. So this is a very crucial, series because it is, it's a team you're battling with and you need to win the season series with them. You need to get a little bit ahead of them. And it's really, you don't want to be losing to the team, the teams that are right there with you. You don't want to be losing to them. But I'm going to go out on a limb. And I think we have a very, very, very good week this week.
So there's 7 games. Oh my God. If they go 6-1, you can have a 2-week vacation from this show. I think
Don't shake your head at me, Dean. Do not shake your head like that.
Oh, I'm shaking my head at you. 7-1, is that what you said?
6-1.
6-1. Oh my God.
I'm gonna go.
Pick 1 and 6.
I think I'm going to go 4-3. I think they can take 2 against the Marlins and 2 against KC. I'm sorry, 3 or 4. I think they could sweep KC and take 1 against the Marlins. So
you think they're going 1-3 against the Marlins? If we go 1-3 against the Marlins, we're not making playoffs.
Dude,
the Marlins series is set up perfect for us, though.
How many times
Nolan Wheeler have been bad, but we have Suarez, Wheeler, and Nola going the last 3 games. Those, and I get it. I think.
Oh, that's it, everybody. Guys, Aaron Nola's going. We're going undefeated the rest of the year.
Just listen to me.
There's 57 games left. We're going 57-0.
It's set up for us to, and it's set up for us to take go 3-1 against him. I do think Suarez is going to face Alcantara. I think we've actually hit Alcantara pretty okay. I think it's set up for us to have a very good series because we have our 4 guys going. If there's ever a time for those 4 to make a statement, this series against this is a key series. If you can sweep them, you can make a statement. It's set up perfect for our top 4 guys to go against them. It really is. It's just set up, and I think this is the series that's going to change the season. And next Sunday, when they go 7-0, and you guys are like, "Oh, Jason really knew we were underachieving. We didn't think they could do it." You're going to look at me, and I'm going to tell you, I knew it. This is the series that changes.
Thank God I won't be on next week's show.
So in his last 3 starts, Nola has pitched, I think, 19 innings here, and he's given up over 10 earned runs. He's walked 3 guys. He's given up 3 home runs. He went 7 innings against Milwaukee. He went 7 innings against Cleveland, where he still gave up 3 runs, but then again against Pittsburgh, man, 4 2/3, 9 hits, 5 earned runs. Again, I still think only 3 of those were probably his, but still, he had 3 walks. So again, he's doing that whole thing like we've said. He has 2 good starts, then he bails out again.
Chris,
and it's just wild to me.
Everyone thought Mel Clark was done in Angels in the outfield, okay? And Mel Clark came back and pitched beautifully.
Yeah, but apparently he died. So I mean, it does.
Hey. He was amazing. Okay, and that's going to be Nola.
That's right. He did.
Nola is going to show everybody why I picked him to be the Cy Young winner this year.
Yeah.
Nola's going to start it this series. I'm telling you, this is the series that changes the season. And you guys are all going to come on and be like, "You were right," and then I'll start being your source.
I'll never admit that.
That's funny. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
You didn't even ask me.
Oh,
I don't know why I'm here.
I thought you said 1 6.
I was joking.
Oh, the whole time I thought you said 1 6.
I mean, it's not much better. 3 and 4.
Man, you got no. Come on, Dean.
Dude,
Jay, what are you gonna do if they lose the second game of the week? What are you gonna text us? Oh, I was just kidding about 6 and 1.
Well, no, because it's only they still only have 1 loss. So
you know what the thing is,
I still go 5 in a row.
I could see them getting swept by the Royals, but I think they'll take 2 or 3 of the Royals. I've been watching this team, this club play the Marlins enough to know to never bet against the Marlins against the Phillies. I hope I'm wrong. Dude, I would love for them to go 7-0. I would love it. But I've been watching the Marlins for 20 years. Oh, we're going to sign Jim Thome and go to the World Series, and the Marlins go to win the World Series. And we barely finish above 500. You know what I mean? So I'm always going to be very skeptical when we play the Marlins. If it was the Mets, oh man, 7-0. What are you talking about? Mets don't scare me at all. I mean, come on. That $1 billion payroll, they can't even win 50 games.
Chris's prediction is going to be right, except what's going to happen is they're going to sweep the Marlins and everybody's going to get excited. Then we're going to get swept by Kansas City. That's probably how it plays out. That's the play.
I'll tell you what they're not doing. They're not winning Nola's game. Or if they do, it's not because his start.
It's going to be very interesting to see. You know, we're looking forward to this week. It's a big week, like we've said the entire show. When you start off a month with a 4-gamer against the Marlins in Miami, that's we're the trend towards the playoffs begins or ends, I think, this week, because this is big. Again, you're half a game out of that third wild card spot, but you're literally a game out of being the top wild card seed. So, man, if let's just say they have a 6-1 week, which I would love. I just don't think it's feasible. I definitely can see them having a good, solid 2-game lead in the wild card, and that's something they're going to have to keep going. At some point, one of these guys in Turner or Castellanos is going to have to get hot if the rest of this playoff run or push is going to be sustainable. I just don't know how long it's going to be able to last before the bottom completely drops out in this offense. You mean when you look at Castellanos and Turner, it should not be difficult for any of us to say look, August, September, one of these dudes are going to have to get hot, and I have to think that way. It's just the only way to be really positive going into the playoffs, and that's all. That's the only thing I can hope for is that one of them. If I have a belief in any of them, it's Turner. I have below zero belief that Nick Castellanos will ever feed his kids again via hitting. So I just think I think that ship has sailed. I think he's done. I think he's toast as a productive baseball player. And I hope wherever the Athletics go, they send Castellanos out there because he looks like a player that has checked out for a while now.
I think David Bell part 2, except for David Bell was a good third baseman.
Yeah. So it's really difficult. But okay, let's just hopefully have a positive week. Head over to Twitter at ringthebell856, at ringthebell856 on Instagram. I was finally able to change the name on the Instagram page. Whoever took the names before, I guess, were deleted by Instagram. So I finally have a good name for the show there, at ringthebell856 on Instagram. Head over to Facebook and find us there. It's Ring the Bell Phillies podcast. Shoot us a follow there. If you listen to us from the audio version only, go to Apple Podcast, give us a 5-star review, or any star, but leave a review. Again, this really helps us big time with the algorithm. If you've listened to this and watched this on YouTube, smash that like button. Also subscribe to the channel as well. Again, the more times you hit that like button, in terms of, you can only hit it once. But if 30 of you or 40, 50, 60 of you keep coming in, just hit the like button. I don't care if you don't listen to the show. Come on and hit the like button and bounce. That's fine.
Yeah. That's all that matters is that like button.
It's all that matters. It really does.
They can downvote us. That helps too.
That's a big deal too. Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
You hate us all you want, guys. Listen, especially Jay. He's an idiot.
Yes, but definitely hit that like button and download if you must. Again, this is all about algorithm. That's going to be our second shirt, Ring the Bell algorithm. And that's it.
I really want that first shirt though.
Oh, that's going to be a good one.
We should call the like button the bean and tell everybody to flick the bean.
That's not bad. Okay. So yes, help us out there any chance you get as we continue to grow this thing. And we're looking forward. We have the trade deadline again. We didn't talk about that much today because we're most likely probably going to have a show during the week. The Phillies are in the mix for a couple players like Adam Duvall, for one, from Boston. I know they were looking at. Yeah. I know another guy they were looking at, Jordan Montgomery. He was just traded to the Texas Rangers. It feels like if you're a decent pitcher, you're getting traded to the Rangers. So that seems to be the trend right now. But yeah, most likely we will have a show this week. Either I'm guessing if the deal happens, it's a big one. We'll hop on whenever we can. If not, we'll go over what they did or didn't do sometime in the middle of the week. On here as well. All right, so I'm Christy Francesco. That's Jason Kettendine Holzapple, and we'll catch you guys down the road in just a couple of days. We hope everybody has a good one. Take care, and as always, go Phils.